Hello dear students of class 4. Since we have already started this chapter 4, and the topic that is adaptation in plants. Already we have discussed how plant adapts, okay, and what are the factors that influences the adaptation in plants. And in the last video we have discussed about the adaptation in terrestrial plants, how the different plants found in a different region and how they adapt. So today we are going to continue with the same chapter, that is chapter 5, and for today's topic is adaptation in aquatic plant. For that you can refer to page number 45. Now what is aquatic plant? Aquatic plants are the plant that grows in water. So, seeing how they adapt in water, they are mainly categorized into 3. So, you can see here on the board, adaptation in aquatic plants. The first one we have what? Floating plants, fixed plants. The third one is underwater plants. Floating plants are the plants that grow in water, but their roots are not fixed, so they float on the surface of water. They do not have a fixed root, so it becomes very easy for them to float in water. So what are their adaptation? As their roots are not fixed, so their stems are very light and spongy, filled with air, which help them to float above the surface of water. And the leaves of these plants are very waxy coated, so that it does not get rot, or it does not get decay. Okay, so the main plants that are found, or the main plants, some examples of this one, floating aquatic plants are water lettuce, duckweed, and hyacinth. These are water hyacinths are some of the examples, and the examples of floating aquatic plants. The other one next is fixed aquatic plants. Fixed aquatic plants are just opposite to the floating plants. Fixed aquatic plants are the plants which those plants whose roots are fixed in the muddy ground under the surface, under the water. Okay, so as their roots are fixed, the leaves of these plants, which are very broad and it occupies a large space, and it helps them to float on the surface of water. And the stems are very long, hollow, and it is very flexible, and the stems move along with the movement of water because it is flexible. Since this under this one fixed aquatic plants, they have very broad and large leaves on the surface of the water. It absorbs a large amount of sunlight, and it helps in the process of photosynthesis. And since the roots are fixed under the ground, the plant there's a chance, okay, the plant stays in a particular place. Some of the examples that are given is, you have seen lotus and water lily. Okay, these are the main examples of fixed plants. Lotus and water lily are fixed aquatic plants. The other one is underwater plants, the plants that grows under the water, and it is also called submerged plant because it is under the water. It is neither on the surface, or it's not just above or underneath the surface of the water, but it is found underneath. It is totally submerged. They totally submerged in the water, therefore it is known as underwater aquatic plants. And the main speciality or the adaptation of these plants are the leaves, are especially like they are very thin and ribbon-like, and they are very narrow. The shape of the leaves are very thin and in the shape of ribbon, and they are in very narrow shape, and they don't have stomata. And other specialty is that since they are underneath the water, they are inside the water, they breathe by their own body surface. And since the root is fixed under the ground, they tend to stay or grow in the water itself. Okay, and some of the example of underwater plants are that one of the example is hydrilla, pondweed, and tape grass. These are the example these are the example of the plants that grow under water. So these were some of the adaptation that is shown in the aquatic plants. The plants that grow in the water. Some of the plants, they float on the surface of the water, and they have their own way of adapting in that habitat. Okay, in the water itself. In the water itself, some of the plants are fixed plants. Okay, which are fixed aquatic plants, and they have got a different way of adaptation as compared to underneath water. They have their own way of adaptation. Along with that, there are some of the interesting adaptation in plants. As we see some of the unusual plants such as Venus flytrap and pitcher plants. These are the plants that trap insects and they feed on insects. These type of plants are known as insectivorous plants. And when we talk of Venus flytrap, these are the small plants. Okay, the main specialty about this is their leaves, and especially in the Venus flytrap, on the edges of the leaves they have got a very stiff hair. Because of that, insects are attracted. When they come and touch the hair of this plant, suddenly the leaf gets closed. Okay, all of a sudden the leaf gets shut, and the fly or whatever the prey comes in contact, they get trapped and they get killed. And whatever the trapped insect or whatever the prey that dies inside the leaf, from there the nutrition is extracted by the plant. And the other case, in the pitcher plant, the leaf of the pitcher plant takes a structure just like a pitcher with a lid, and when the insects get attracted and comes inside, because in the pitcher there is a fluid. Okay, so fluid, and when the insect comes for the fluid inside, when it enter into the pitcher, the lid gets shut, and because of this the insects gets killed, and the pitcher plant secretes some digestive juice and excretes the juice, the nutrition from the insects. So these are the two type of plants which are known as insectivorous plants. Why they are called insectivorous? Because they kill insects and they depend on insects. And when we talk about the other plant, which there are other type of plants, they are known as non-green plants. Okay, have you seen mushroom? Yes. Have you ever seen mushroom in a green color or any kind of color which contain green color or any kind of color? I've seen red, but also in exception cases. Have you seen the mushroom in a green color? No. So therefore, these, especially the mushroom, moles, Indian pine, these are the plants which are named as non-green plants. Why? Because they don't have a green pigment, which is known as chlorophyll. Because of they don't have a green pigment in them, or chlorophyll, so they cannot perform photosynthesis. So if they cannot perform photosynthesis, that means they cannot provide food for the plants itself. So this type of plants, non-green plants, are the plants which depend on other sources. Okay, they don't make food, but they provide the food for the plant, or the parts of the to different parts of plant from the other sources. Okay, so children, we have learned many facts about plants. Okay, starting the way as we know the factors that influences the adaptation in plants, and we know the two varieties of plants. Some plants that are found in water, some are on the ground. One is terrestrial plant and other one is aquatic plant. And we also came to know the various ways of adaptation in terrestrial plants. And today we have discussed about adaptation of aquatic plants and their types. And we also, not only that, we also came to know some interesting adaptation in plants, especially with the insectivorous plants and some non-green plants. So these were the main content of this chapter. Since we have completed this chapter, so what I suggest you all, go through this chapter, read the content. Okay, it will be more easy to understand. So till then, do take care and keep studying. Thank you.